Hello, I'm Milo, traveling with my dog, Willie Nelson.
I'm Jenny with my co-pilot, Dakota.
Two solo van nomads sharing our stories from the road.
We may travel solo, but we don't have to go at it alone.
Girls Just Want to Drive Vans podcast is created to help and encourage other adventurers.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Jenny, and I am coming to you from Arizona again.
Wow. But you did move.
I did move, a different part of Arizona.
Well, I am in beautiful, sunny Texas. Finally, it rained for days here, and I'm clearly still moose jockeying in my cousin's driveway. But we're leaving this next week, and I think Willie actually joined us today. A little bit, yes, a little bit.
Yay!
So, yay! And we have a new sponsor.
Oh, who's our sponsor?
Our sponsor is Get Up and Go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, Willie really likes this sponsor. It's probably one of his favorite sponsors.
Is he going to tell us the sponsor?
Yeah, he is basically telling us because he's like, let's get up and go. Because he doesn't understand why I always sit in front of this computer screen. But literally, get up and go. If you want to go to the outdoors, it's waiting for you. Get up and go. You want to go and live in your van or anything, box truck, Volkswagen, station wagon, Prius, get up and go. If you want to just go hiking in the mountains and just go by yourself and go see the world, just get up and go. Don't make excuses. Don't wait for a Monday or a Sunday or the perfect weather day. Just get up and go. And Willie is a huge fan of Get Up and Go.
He agrees. He gets it.
So today we want to touch on a couple things. First, I want to say that this will be our final podcast up until, so we're going to take a break. We're both relocating and have some big drives in front of us. So it's not always easy to have great service on a Monday evening when we do our recordings. But I think we're just going to take some time and then we'll regroup in a couple of weeks and tell everyone where we landed. The other thing is I want to really push out and talk about that we each do our own podcast. So we're going to talk about that at the end, how people can find you and how people can find me. And mine's not so much about van life, where yours is your whole van life experience. Yeah, all about van life. So you give a lot of details and you really get down to the nitty gritty with a lot of details with your blog. But today I really want to talk about how van life has shaped or changed you in any way, shape, or form, or what you can take away from this whole experience of this. And I'll let you go first.
I think it's changed me dramatically, but I also think that these changes were kind of in motion because of in my life, especially the last few years. But I think that my biggest things that I've learned with van life is really like figuring out exactly who I am and being able to just be authentically me and be proud of who that is and excited about being me and letting go of the rest and being able to like just be myself and really like adopt this feeling and understanding of like, as long as I'm myself and I'm true to myself and I'm a good person, then the things that come along, the people that come along are going to be the ones that are supposed to. And everything else can kind of fall aside. And so I think being in the van has really given me the space. It's been like the catalyst to being able to just be me. It's like stripped away a lot of the things from society. Like, I don't have a mirror usually. I wear the same clothes all the time. Like I've learned to feel good just by being on me and not worrying about myself on the outside. And so it's allowed me to really discover exactly who I am and has tested me in interesting ways to really solidify like who I am and my strengths and my ability to do things alone.
It's definitely, and I think what a great opportunity it has been for you because you're still very young, right? So you have kind of a non-traditional life for just being in your 30s because you don't have a husband and 2 kids and 2 cars and a mortgage and a white picket fence. Like, you didn't fall in line. You don't have I don't know if your job may have a 401k now, but you really kind of threw all of and is that maybe a millennial thing? Do you think that's kind of what's happening now, that the era that the Leave It to Beaver kind of picture of life is kind of fading away? Like, I don't even think, like, when I say Leave It to Beaver, do you know who that is?
Yeah. And like, but I don't know, because I did have the house and the mortgage and the 401k and the husband and plans to start trying to have a family. Like, I was in that line. That was what I wanted. That was the future that I saw for myself 100%. I was like, I'll have Jude's house. They'll go to this school. So I don't think that that's dead. Like, that's what I thought I wanted. I've grown now to see that I'm so glad I didn't continue down that journey. But I know I have a lot of friends and family members who, they have 2 kids and a house and a husband and all of that. And so I don't think it's gone. I really don't. I think fewer people are fitting into that mold or finding alternative ways to life. But I definitely wouldn't say it's gone. I have a lot of friends, peers, people that I went to college, high school with that are, that have been married and have kids who are going to kindergarten and stuff that's like so outside of the realm of like how my life has turned out. But I definitely wouldn't say that it's gone.
I interviewed a couple for my podcast of the day that went from a boat to boat life, full-time boat, like a yacht, not like a sailboat. And now they're in an RV. They went from the water to land, and they are still kind of having to hover in an area because of his work. He hasn't retired yet, but that's a lot. That's pretty common. I meet people all the time that are older full-timing because they've retired. So it's a whole nother thing to figure it out when you're young, to find a way to be mobile and adventurous and just go hit the road without, feeling like you have to conform or fit or have your life in this perfect little box. He's up on a trash can. Hold on. Willie, get down. Hey, down. So when I'm on this, like, he knows my attention. So now he's dragging his bed over here because he is dissatisfied.
He does like to rearrange.
He does. And so this is, I may have to take it from him so he doesn't rip it. But anyway, I would say I learned a lot about my focus changed. I was focusing, I was in my 40s and feeling very unfulfilled in a lot of areas in my life. And so I was constantly hungry for something because like I felt empty. And so I don't feel empty. I mean, how could I? I mean, with that disaster, I don't feel empty anymore. And I think the solitude and having to face the loneliness and understanding that loneliness and being alone is actually not a negative thing. It clears my mind. It makes room for creativity and other things that I didn't have room before because I was so busy trying to fix something. But today as I was thinking about talking to you tonight, I was like, we always say that, we're broken or people are broken, but unless your bones are broken or your flesh is broken, we're not broken. We're just not thinking clearly, or we're just muffled or muddied and our brain chemistry might be off. But I don't feel broken anymore, and I don't feel hollow anymore. And I feel like I'm questing to go see more and do more. But I mean, anybody who has been friends with me before Vanlife and has continued to be my friend after into van life, has noticed a shift. And when they first said it to me, I was like, oh, I was almost offended. Like, I haven't changed. Like, what's wrong? But then I thought, actually, no. Yeah, I think the change is good. What I talk about is different. I may not be able to talk to you about what shows are on Netflix, and I may not be able to tell you I don't know what other people talk about, but I can tell you about some neat locations to camp and park and some of the struggles I've had with figuring out the RV. And one rule to never forget is if something's not working, check a fuse. I've done it twice where I'm like, oh my gosh, I think something's broken. And it's like, it was a fuse. Oh, 3 times. I can think of 3 times it was a fuse. But I was like on the phone about to call a mechanic. And one time I scheduled, but it was a fuse. So anyway, I say that all to say, I could not be happier with some of the sadness I have felt and some of the just trying to work through all the emotions that come up in this life, have made me feel just whole. It's really strange. And, like we had talked before on the dating side of things, I no longer feel hungry. I no longer feel alone, could because of this thing. But, yeah, everything's about the next adventure. Like, where am I going to go next? What am I going to see next? Who am I going to meet next? Because there are so many people out there doing this on all different levels of the spectrum. So yeah, we both changed for the better.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to your thing about almost being offended when someone says that you've changed, like, I think we should all be changing. Like, that should just be a, basic rule that everybody should be changing and growing. And yeah, you hope that these changes are positive, but to think that exactly how I am right now is how I'm going to be the rest of my life, wouldn't allow for growth and discovery. But I think as humans, we're scared of change. And so hearing that you've changed immediately feels like something to be defensive about.
Right. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think changing and like the opportunity for change and growth and that like self-discovery is so huge in the van when especially as a solo traveler, you have a lot of time to like face some demons, things you didn't realize were buried in there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm still processing. Like, I find outlets. Like, I know you hike and you go and do those solitary long hikes where you go out away from everything and everyone. And I find it in my artwork that I'm able to process. And I've started doing these things where, I'm making these really colorful things, but in kind of, like breakup quotes in them. Like,
I saw that. I love that.
The sun will come out tomorrow because I'm no longer with you. And someone said, oh, I can feel the pain in these. It's kind of like letting go of the thing. I'm kind of like releasing it. And my way of doing that is sharing it because I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. Right.
Yeah. I obviously I'm not doing it through art in that same form, but I find the same release when I write about something. And then, yeah, that connection of somebody else going, oh, I felt that. Yeah. Like I can feel how sad that is in the sense that like, I've been there. You're touching on like emotions that I can share with you. And right. That is a healing, a good way to move through it.
So yeah, it's been fun actually. So what type of advice would you give someone getting ready to come in to start van life? I know there's lots of advice, but give me something.
So I pick a word every year. Instead of having a New Year's resolution, I choose a word to sort of live my year by. And my first year in the van, the word that I picked that year was embrace. And that would be my advice. Because I think when you get into a van, to have expectations or hopes for how it's going to go or the things that you want to see or the places you are going to be at. But I think my best advice would be to just embrace all of it that comes at you, the good, the bad, the changes of plans, the things that are well executed and the things that are not, and just embrace it all. Cause it's such a like magical, wonderful opportunity. But I think the key is letting go of just kind of holding on for the ride of it and taking it exactly how it's going to come and just embrace it all. Cause it's not always going to be fun.
No, it's not. And that would lead to my advice, which is push through the fear. If you feel stopped and frozen, like, I don't think I can go this next step, or I'm afraid to go to this next place, or I'm afraid to leave my neighborhood, my city, my state, go someplace new that I've never gone before, take a deep breath and push through that fear. Because what you're going to find is once you get past that one step, and you put all that stuff behind you, all the things you know behind you, and you do that first step, it gets easier and easier and easier to keep pushing. And then pretty soon you are just going, and the fear is no longer stopping you. But you have to push through the first ones, because that first year, there were lots of times where I felt comfortable in an area. And so somewhat fearful to like go to another area, because everything I was like, okay, I've made this work. And then you start getting comfortable, and like, I don't want to just change because I don't know what to expect. How will that road condition be? Where, how will the people be? Just go and know you can always turn around. You can always turn around. And just knowing that, like, push through the fear. And that's what I guess that's with everything in life, right? Whether it's the job you want to apply for, the school, the education you want to go get, the guy at work or someplace you want to go talk to and you're afraid to, push through the fear. Because there's nothing worse than 5, 10, 15 years later saying, I wish I had done that.
Yeah, for sure.
Push through fear. So I want to take a minute and I want you to share your podcast and how people find you.
Yeah. So my podcast can be found wherever you find your podcasts. It's called Adventures from the Van. It is my story of van life from day one, recounting all of the places I've been and the things I did and the people I've met. So it's just storytelling, really, at its purest. There's not a lot of advice. It's not a how-to. It is simply just recounting the ways I experienced them from day one.
Nice. And mine is MiloTalks. And I talk to strangers. That's how the whole thing started, was my conversations with people I was meeting, and whether they were in a van or not. Just this lifestyle will bring you very interesting people. And I love to know people's stories. Like, how did we end up crossing paths when our lives are so different? What brought you to me, and what can I gain? What knowledge can I gain from you in that moment? At the end, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a collection of photos that Jenny and I have taken on our journey over the last couple of years. So that way they can kind of see what there is to see. And of course, we're going to take just a short break. But like I said, you can join Jenny on her podcast, jump in. And if you've not been listening to either one of us, you have a lot to listen to. There's lots of information. The links will be in the comment section to both. But in the meantime, Jenny, travel safely. The summer is coming, the mountains are calling, and we're both heading to them.
Yeah, and hopefully our paths are going to intersect here soon. We're heading the same direction.
Yes. Be fearless, be safe, and always be sure to talk to strangers.
Well, be careful.
I will. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Coming soon, you will be able to subscribe to receive our newsletter, which will include links to our campsites, items we carry on our van, and photos from our journey.
You can also catch Jenny on her podcast, Adventures from the Van.
Or tune in to Milo's podcast at MiloTalks.
Thanks for listening, and just go do and see everything you can in a safe way.